What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming, the show where we talk about gaming news. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
Quick reminders, we're in a new month. That month is November. So make sure to download and play Neo and Outlast 2, both offer for free on PlayStation Plus. Make sure to download those, play those, and come back at the end of the month for Plus Club. Let us know what we thought of those games. We'll let you know what we thought of those games. And our game of the month randomly picked is Lost Planet 2, which is a 1 to up to 4 player cooperative story-driven game where you run around, shoot big bugs, and get their energy source and go inside of bugs and stuff.
I'm doing my part.
It's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty. I'm doing my part. At first, like, what is that reference? Oh yeah, bugs. The only good bug is a dead bug. Make sure to play that and come back for Game of the Month. We're going to talk about that game as well. Also, just so you guys know, we're in phase 2 of our Game of the Month community pick for December. The way this works is you can pick either Greedfall, WoW Classic, Super Mario Bros., Man and Medan, Overwatch, Dovetail Games, Eurofishing, Divinity Original Sin 2, 9990, Escape the Nonary, Jurassic World Evolution, Sea of Thieves.
You should probably just put a graphic up.
Oh, it'll be up too.
Okay.
That's for the people listening. I almost didn't breathe. Yeah, pick one of those games, and those are the games you can pick this month, but every video counts as a vote, and we're going to keep going till the end of this month, and then we'll find out who wins. I also was suggested a really cool idea. I'm not going to spoil yet, but I'm like almost 100% sure I'm going to take it, so thank you, Jeremy. If we do that, I'm pretty sure we're going to do it. It's a very good idea. I really appreciate it. But yeah, vote for those games. Game of the month, GOTM, whatever game. I fucking just puked up real fast. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you'd prefer to listen to us. And we got Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. Yeah, Taste Tuesday. Also, we're going to talk about releases this month, but we're going to wait for Tastecast because that's typically where we talk about it. But I just want to clarify something for myself mostly. Death Stranding is coming out Friday the 8th. I read on Twitter like 2 weeks ago it's coming out on the 5th. And that's been reality to me. And not only has that been reality to me, I have said that to many people in the last 2 weeks. No one's corrected me. And then Wade laughed at me and said, no. He's like, how you getting a copy? I was like, isn't it coming out? He's like, no. It's the 8th. I was like, so I looked it up. I was like, yeah, I mean, he's correct. So that was awkward.
Yeah, I thought it was...
It's awkward because I want it now.
How's that make it awkward? Wanting something.
It's awkward for me, dude. I should be playing that right fucking now. So, I've been corrected, and now I know better that it's coming out Friday. So I'm very excited to have to wait more days. You picked up Death Stranding?
Yes.
Okay. Me too. All right, let's jump into the first bit of news.
That would be me.
That's you.
I was like, okay, what is it?
So I was wondering the same thing.
Potential, leak for Horizon Zero Dawn 2 would be unofficial at the moment, but there was a job listing on, there's a lot of fluff on this website, Gorilla's website, for a technical vegetation artist, which in quotes here, would be for the creation of vegetation assets that are used to dress the game world. And it is also quoted saying, within Gorilla, we have 4 teams dedicated to creating the stunning environments of Horizon, and one team focuses on the creation of lush and stunning vegetation. What do we think about, essentially the very real possibility of this? And what do you think? Is this going to be a PS5 game launch, or do you think it'll come out later?
I would assume it's coming out PS5, obviously, because if it'd be in development now. I don't think it'd be a launch title. I'd be surprised if it was. Although, I don't know if they're looking for someone to do vegetation right now. I don't think they're getting that out by launch. But it couldn't be too far off. Also, I think you said Gorilla's website or something like that. This is Games Radar.
Yeah, the job listing was on Gorilla.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you were talking about this website sucking, which it does, because it's Games Radar, and so does IGN, and so does GameSpot, and so does fucking Kotaku, and so does all of them. So I 100% believe that this is Horizon Zero Dawn 2 we're talking about here. They did kind of let it slip at something this year, I believe, that they're working on it. It only makes sense because before Horizon, they were working on Killzone, and as much as I would love to see Killzone come back and like try and reinvent it, like take the same story but reboot it in something that's the games aren't that fun to play, but they're really neat looking, and they really nailed it with Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, I think a reboot for Killzone would probably be the best.
That's what I would want.
Yeah.
I don't want a sequel. I want them to take that really cool fucking storyline and make it into something else. But anyway, they had a cool idea, and it was enough to get them to where they are now. But Horizon Zero Dawn, I think they really fucking nailed it. I loved that game. I believe you liked it as well.
I beat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really fantastic, and I can't wait for a second one. But this does sound like that's what they're going for. It only makes sense just because of the success of that. They found something that worked, and why wouldn't you make a sequel to that? It's highly requested. Somebody did a poll recently. It was like the third or one of the top 3 requested sequels that isn't getting talked about. So
That's good to know.
People fucking loved it.
Well, I knew people did, but I didn't realize people were clamoring for another one. So
yeah, I mean it's an open world action kind of stealth type game, but it felt unique in a way.
Yeah,
So
I agree with that.
So yeah, anyway, I think that's definitely what they're hiring for, which definitely in my mind tells me that they are working on this, and it's going to come out. I would assume pretty close to launch or a little after. I could definitely see that happening. I'm also amazed that, and I talked about this with you earlier when this news was kind of circulating. It's interesting how they're talking about how they have 4 different teams for designing like the landscape essentially, and one team is for vegetation. Makes me curious about what the other teams work on, but it's kind of cool that like the amount of work that just goes into the vegetation alone.
Oh yeah.
That one team is working with other teams to like put that vegetation on that map, and it's just I always like the behind the scenes stuff when it comes to production of games and stuff like that. So, and it shows you how big that fucking game is and the development of a game of that magnitude and quality.
For sure.
If this is on PS5, it's gonna be fucking fantastic looking. It looked great on PS4. And yeah, it's exciting. Although I would like some kind of confirmation that's a little more fun and less like, hey, pretty sure this is coming out.
Right.
Because that shit's kind of boring. But it's cool.
Job releases and toy sales and stuff.
Oh, toy sales, fuck. Like Star Wars, Disney movies all the time. Everything just gets leaked through toys.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's a safe bet to say anyways, because I don't know anyone who disliked the game, and I know it sold well. It's probably one of the best first party games that came out this on this console.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, just in general, this console it was a very solid game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean it's one game in that IP, and it's commonly represented as like one of the Sony games.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and the other thing I'm kind of excited for with this too is ever since they let Kojima use the engine, as part of the deal was to trade secrets, essentially in game development. So I'm kind of wondering what kind of Kojima stuff they learned and might be implemented into a sequel as well. So
I'm pretty sure they made that deal, and then they came back like a year later and they're like, okay, Kojima, what have you unlocked in our engine? And then they looked at his screen and he's just fucking looking at them, and there's just fields of whales, and they're like, thanks. And he's like,
The only other aspect of this I really have to say is, as far as it being like a launch game, the only way that I can even like think of that to be possible is obviously they probably have been working on it already, but the engine's made if they're using the same engine, so that part's over. So it's mostly just making the assets. So
yeah, but if it's going to be on a next gen console, it's going to look better, so it's going to have upgrades
for sure. It's just still not as much work as like building an engine again. So I'm not saying it's gonna be the case. I wouldn't be super surprised, only because the engine part is technically done. So but I am curious. Like I said, I want to know where they take it, because I really like the game, but it did have I hate to word it this way, but really like simple features to it, and it has a lot of room to expand, and I think that's really exciting for it actually. So
yeah, and since it is a vegetation artist, that's something you can do after landscapes have already been made and buildings already placed and stuff like that. But I can't fathom that they would bring someone in later to start designing that and working on that, unless someone just left.
Possibly. Yeah.
Which I thought I read in a different article, but I'm not sure. But regardless, they have someone coming in, so that's the leak. But that is post. You could do that post building the world and stuff like that. So, it's hard to tell where this game's at, but I think it's possible to see it as a launch title. I don't think it's likely though, but it could be a launch title. But in my mind, I'm thinking that's rushed.
Yeah.
Which I hope they don't do. But it's been a while. I mean, the last one came out in 2017. So by then it'd be 4 years. So
That's true. Yeah, and I guarantee after it was successful, they probably were already at the drawing board.
yeah, I'm pretty sure after that game came out, kind of like a lot of companies that get that first like big fucking. I mean, Killzone sold plenty, but like Horizon Zero Dawn did really well. At that point, you get to kind of sit back and like figure: are we gonna ride this wave, or are we gonna make something else? Because someone's gonna fucking say okay to like anything after you make something like that. So I mean, obviously they're developing it, but they have a partnership with Sony.
I feel like Sony's saying okay to everything to the first party developers right now. So
they're all killing it. It's undeniable.
anyways, yeah, I'm excited. I'm sure it'll be. I would really hope for like an E3 presentation or a Gamescom since it is a European company, but
You think we'll see it this E3?
I think it'll be a state of play with Sony's current attitude for.
I still
shows.
feel like Sony will go to E3 this year.
I want them to.
Just because consoles.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, they could do a state of play. It would be cheaper.
Except for he's just hanging out on
the
like
spectacle.
random interviews, being like, "Yeah, PS5. Here's the stats."
Yeah, which I hate. So
Like,
that
what are you
also tells
doing?
me that they won't be at E3 because they're being very there's no ceremony to it, which kind of sucks.
It's a bummer.
I fucking hate it. So at least Xbox is like, there's info leaked, but they're not talking about it as much. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll get a really cool fucking big presentation from them. Well, Sony's just like, yeah, it's out. It's out? Yeah. Right now? Yeah, go. And I'm but I'm gonna be like, fuck, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, no kidding.
God. What would you want from a sequel?
I would like to see an expanded weapon and armor system because I really enjoyed that aspect of the game.
The weapons are really cool.
Yeah, especially more stuff to kind of to play with in the regards of like interacting with your enemies when you're fighting. I'm struggling to find a way to word that, but like how there's traps and there's electricity and stunning and all this stuff. More in that regard because I think that was a huge part of the fun of the combat in Horizon was that. In a very weird example, but kind of like Monster Hunter, where you got to figure out like, okay, what do I want to bring to fight this guy type of thing. Same idea. I'd love to see them go more with that because I think that was part of the fun, especially on the bigger fights that take longer. Mm-hmm. It's really neat to be able to like figure out what tools you have to like take care of that. So I'd like to see more expansion on that system.
I want to see it be 4-player co-op where you bring your cat buddies with you and you would fight these mechanical fucking monsters and you take them out and you build new weapons and armor. No, I mean that would be sick, but then this game it wouldn't exist anymore. So maybe they can just work on that too. No, yeah, I want to see all the things you would expect, but I want to see a new location that's really fucking crazy looking. The first game had some really cool locations that I thought they had, fucking the balls to actually make something as fantastical as they did.
Right.
I'm not used to that with non-Japanese games, I guess, because they like to go crazy
and
with their
scale.
Yeah,
so not Western.
There's some very fucking cool cities in that game and landscapes and stuff, and some really cool robot fucking designs that I want to see like a bunch of brand new monsters or robots. I was really impressed with the way things looked in the first one, so I'd like to see that expanded upon. And pretty much everything you said. So pretty much all the basic stuff. But yeah, I just want to see a more like an expansion of the lore.
Yeah.
And moving forward somewhere else, some really grand locations. So that was I really liked the whole the hunting aspect and the locations and just kind of it had really good biomes. It had a lot of different biomes right in the beginning. I was like, wow, they're really covering a lot of things here. The
Yeah.
thing they didn't really cover was a whole lot of snow, and then they did that with the
DLC.
DLC. So, what are they going to do next? I don't know, but I'm sure they'll do it and it's going to look fantastic. So maybe something, they had some urban areas, but maybe like an actual, like fucking full city would be really neat. Fully overgrown.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't really touch on that too much.
Yeah.
So.
There's that like rubble of like brick buildings and stuff. And it was really neat looking. I liked it a lot, but it wasn't that big.
Right.
But it's been overgrown, so it makes sense. But to see like a full scale city would be fucking crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anything else?
No.
All right. So might be coming out. Probably is coming out. Probably is being worked on right now, and we're both excited. So let us know in the comments what do you guys think about the prospect of Horizon Zero Dawn 2 being worked on right now. And when do you think it's going to come out? Do you think it's going to come out around launch of the PS5, a little later? What do you want to see from it? Did you like the first game? Did you not like the first game? If you didn't like the first game, let me know why. Let me know why you liked it too. And yeah, would you like to see multiplayer? I'd like to see some kind of co-op. I think 2-player would be kind of neat. 4 people's like too much. I would welcome it, but like having one other person with you hunting would be fucking dope.
I'm mixed on that. Just because I think the experience that you got in the first game was really good. And I don't know if co-op would actually enhance that.
I mean, as long as it doesn't change up or make the storyline weird, you could easily just not have the second person in the cutscenes. I wouldn't care about that. Because then whoever's hosting the game is just playing their story. And then the second person is just a palico. They did the cross promotion.
No, I know.
That gives them fucking all the rights to just steal their idea.
I don't think that's
how that works, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Second bit of news. Let's just jump into it. Also, somebody who has experience working on the exact same engine, Hideo Kojima has stated his intent for his studio, Kojima Productions, to start making movies as well as video games in the future. He was talking with BBC recently, and he said a couple things that were kind of interesting. So, did I start that off? Did I say fucking... You look confused.
I'm confused because I'm trying to figure out what you're doing right now.
I'm reading. I look at you. You're just like, what's happening? I was like, fuck, am I going too fast? Okay, so Kojima said, in the future, Kojima Productions will start making films. If you can do one thing well, then you can do everything well, which is a really interesting quote and very optimistic because that's almost bragging. I did something well. I do everything well now. Kojima went on to explain that he sees that movies, TV shows, and games competing in the same space in the future thanks to stream technology, and that this will encourage new formats to emerge. I'm very interested in the new format of game that will appear on there, and that's what I want to take on, he said. Death Stranding may be a strange design in the grand scheme of video games, but Kojima notes that it is not his way to transitioning from one format to another. In quotes, it says, but this game is to start with, like Guillermo del Toro told me, not a way to break out, but to make something that fans expect. He said, there are new elements to the game, but the basis is something people are used to playing. Quite when Kojima intends to begin producing... This whole article is written weird.
Yeah.
Producing films was not discussed. Every time I read a fucking article, it's written fucking weird? Why are all these people on these fucking sites not proofreading the shit?
Say they don't proofread anymore. They just get them out as fast as they can.
It's just fucking blogs, man. It drives me nuts. Oh my god. Anyway, quite when Kojima intends to begin producing films was not discussed in the documentary. However, his work on Death Stranding does mark at least a half step into the medium. The game's central characters are all played by Hollywood talent, and significant amount of the game's runtime is made up of film-like cutscenes. Kojima has long been known for cinematic eye. This doesn't matter. So, Kojima Productions will be making films in the future. It sounds like to kind of future-proof and think about the future of where games, movies, and all media is going towards streaming, and he sees something happening there, like a singularity. What do we think about Kojima pretty much jumping into a field that everyone kind of already kind of sees him as being a director of film, producing film with his gaming company. And yeah, what do you think about his vision of the future where everything's changing with streaming?
I think those little energy drinks he drinks all the time have something else in them. That's what I
That
think.
make you think if you're good at one thing, you're good at everything?
Or just make you think that, like, I don't know, in the layers he's thinking about entertainment right now. I mean, I'd be totally interested to see him make something that wasn't a game, because he does do heavy storytelling anyway, so it wouldn't be that far of a stretch for him, I don't think.
There are large portions of his games that already are that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not.
But hopefully he doesn't give up making games either, because
Yeah.
obviously that is the medium that, at least for myself, I prefer. Or I'll play a game over watching a movie or TV, like, 9 out of 10 times. So I would be really bummed if he just ditched it. But at the same time, the guy was stuck in with one company having to make one game with, he got a quick break with Zone of the Enders, but like, he was stuck doing the same thing for years and years and years and years. So he's kind of like free right now to do what he wants. And
I think he is kind of savoring the fucking flavor of just total and complete fucking freedom of
100%.
creativity, which I can completely understand.
yeah. So obviously for selfish reasons, I want to keep making games, but for him, like, yeah, I'm curious to see what he's going to do. And, I mean, I'm always going to have eyes in that direction. So
Yeah. Kojima always gets shit from a lot of people about making his games too movie-like, to the point where people are like, well, they're pretty much just movies. I don't agree. The cutscenes are long, but the gameplay is still there as well. And I enjoy the gameplay in his games. Metal Gear Solid is my favorite series of all time, favorite games of all time. Not only do I love the stories, and I love those fucking cutscenes, I hated that 5 didn't have them. That drove me fucking insane. And he was trying to get rid of them because people were like, well, I don't like all the cinematics. And he's like,
yeah,
well,
everyone bitched about 5 not having them. So
yeah. So don't fuck with the way he does things. But the gameplay, I love the gameplay. They're not like minimal experiences when it comes to gameplay. I mean, like the stealth aspects and all the gadgets and fucking unlocks later, like in 4 and 5. He makes great playing games that are full of imagination, Easter eggs, fucking minute details that don't need to be there in that game. They're full of that shit. You're just going around and you're like, oh, that's weird. Oh, that thing happened. Oh, if you do this in this scenario, this thing will happen in that scenario. Oh, the horse shits, and when a car hits it, it fucking spins out. All these things that like most people wouldn't even fucking waste time like developing.
right.
And these are all things that I'm a huge fan of his, outside of his cinematic eye, his storytelling, his crazy fucking mind, and just where his brain goes on stuff. I really dig all that. But like the gameplay as well, I love his mind when it comes to gameplay. So, and obviously I haven't played Death Stranding yet, but I feel like I'm gonna fucking love that game to death because it reminds me of everything that's Kojima. So the idea of him moving away from games, if he were to just go to movies, would really suck for me, because I love what he does now. I'm already getting movie-like experiences, but I'm also getting great gameplay and great fun experiences to enjoy. If he made movies, 100% I'm watching him. He's like one of my favorite game developers of all time. He makes my favorite games, or he has made my favorite games. So it only makes sense that whatever he does, he hasn't left me fucking, or he hasn't led me anywhere fucking bad yet. Outside of 5 was a disappointment to me in some ways. That was the Konami shit. So yeah, if he makes movies, I'll watch him for sure. But this whole idea of like things intersecting in the future through streaming, I feel like he's already kind of ready for that, because he's already doing what I can assume you're gonna do by making interactive movies.
Yeah.
He's already pretty much doing it. So I don't know. He says a lot of shit though that sounds really vague and ambiguous, but a lot of times he ends up just making something pretty straightforward that his wording wasn't. I swear, anytime he's quoted, like it's always like weird sounding, and then like it just makes sense. So
Yeah, Maybe he's not good at putting his thoughts together in words.
When you listen to him talk a lot of times, I mean, he speaks Japanese, so I can't read him as well as like somebody who's speaking English, but like he might be a weird dude. I don't know. I mean, he always just like either super serious or smiling. But like anytime I read like quotes from him, like he says some like stuff, you're like, what does it mean? And then like he just like makes what I expect him to make. So I'm just like, all in all, you know, I think he's potentially thinking about dabbling and making movies. Makes sense. He's talking about Guillermo del Toro telling him to make a game and not to this game isn't the way for him to break out, which is a very revealing thing for him to say anyway, because that means they've been having discussions about him being a director anyway. And he already has director friends. And I know years ago there's a bunch of directors saying that they already consider him a director, which is crazy. So it sounds like he's been having those discussions with people already about being a director.
Right.
So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. If he made the dive to do that, if he's jumped in, I'd be down, but I would really hope he's not just planning on just being a director. I would hate to see his games disappear.
For sure. That guy knows everybody. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, even before, after Konami, where everybody's like, "Yo, Kojima," like you'd read articles and people were like already talking about him, like as a director, other directors of movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Or saying like they knew his work and stuff, and I'm like, it's really weird that
Didn't
they
he just
talk
get,
about him.
like praise from like one of like the big directors recently?
I don't know.
I think someone said something about like the way his mind works and stuff like that. It's something new that people haven't seen before, blah blah. And Kojima was like, "Wow, thank you for the compliment," blah blah, type of thing.
Well, I mean, he's not a tour. He's like, fuck. If he was making movies, he'd be making like his early career would be fucking like cerebral indie movies, and he'd be where like, you know, like Nolan or Denis Villeneuve or like any of these newer wave of like, I would say some of the greater minds in directing who make movies every, you know, they're not making MCU movies over and over and over again. They're fucking putting out like these projects that take time to work on. They're finding the perfect thing. He'd be doing that if he was a director. If he'd been directing this whole time, he'd be a great director. So it's.
You think Sony is going to attempt to hold on to him even if he does that and decide
They'd be stupid if they did.
You want to make it under Sony movies? So.
Well, they have a whole division they're going to start working on for video game movies.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So it would like if I was them, I'd be like, wait, you want to make movies? Hey, we're doing a thing with video game movies. You want to fucking
make one?
Yeah. I saw a homie with I posted this Discord. I saw a picture of Kojima. He had a camera in his hand, so I fucking, of course, being me, I fucking zoomed right in on that camera to check what it was, and it was a Sony Alpha. I'm assuming an A7, A7R3. A7 III, A7R3, or an A7R4. It would make sense to have one of those. But I was thinking, I was like, do they give that to him? Does he get a discount or something? I swear he'd have
he
to.
didn't buy it.
It's a fucking Sony. Yeah. Like, hey, you like cameras? Yeah, here. I was like, I want that hookup. I guess I got to make a couple games. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, camera nerd shit. Yeah. So, I mean, all in all, this is just more so interesting than anything. We don't know where this is going, but it is some cool insight, especially with Death Stranding right around the corner on Friday the 8th, not Tuesday the 5th, today. So upset. So yeah, with that coming up, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about that. So, yeah, anything else you want to say on that?
No, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of game I'm buying on Friday. So
there's walking involved.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I walk in No Man's Sky, so.
Yeah. Well, I was actually talking to somebody, I'll keep it vague, about that. I do fear and guarantee that Death Stranding will have a similar reaction to some people as No Man's Sky did.
Oh, probably.
Because the hype of Kojima before Death Stranding, people who weren't even big fans of Metal Gear Solid were praising this dude with everyone else, which is fine. I'm down. I love the guy, so I'm not going to deny people that. Then this game gets announced, and everybody's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Yeah," because I fucking love everything he's done.
And most of the reviews are way high.
And then like a bunch of the reviews have come out, and they're all saying great things. But then you have some people, they're all saying some pretty similar shit. They just didn't like it or liked it.
Yeah.
Some people are like, this is really slow. And other people are like, it's slow and methodical and masterful. And I'm like, okay, so this is definitely divisive. I don't think people played different things or thought different things. I think it's you either like this or you don't.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are getting really excited because they don't know what to expect from it. And I think a lot of people are going to play it and probably be upset that's not what they wanted because they probably have an expectation and the game's going to be just like when No Man's Sky came out, even though he did lie with that game. If you kept up with what they're actually saying about that game was not a surprise to me in any way.
Same.
When I played it, I was like, this is exactly what he said it was going to be. Aside from when that guy was like, you're going to be able to play with your friends? He's like, ha, yeah. And then people were like, liar. I'm like, that guy nervously fucking said that. It was a mistake, but regardless. And then like people had that fucking expectation, what they thought the game was going to be based off no research. They played it and they got pissed. I'm afraid not everybody, because I'm going to love the game. I guarantee I'll love it. I'd put money on it. But there's going to be people who, I'm still talking to people who don't know what Death Stranding is going to be like gameplay wise. And I don't know what's going to be like later in the game, but I know what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
I've seen gameplay. I've read plenty on it. It's right up my alley. I love experimental shit anyway. But I feel like there's going to be some people out there who are just going to buy that game off the hype. And some of them might go, holy shit, this is great. I had no idea what this is going to be like. But other people are going to play and go, what the fuck is this? There's people saying it's like 6 hours in, fucking nothing happens. Like there's just a lot of like walking and like no soundtrack. And like every once in a while, a soundtrack will come in, but then it'll go away. And like nothing happens for 6 to 8 hours. And I'm like, that's going to be. And then there's people on Twitter going like, I don't care who you are, what game you make. If you make a game that you're not getting into within 6 hours, it's not good. And I'm like, this is going to be fucking divisive.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, Taste Cast territory, but
yeah, I was just gonna say
something I've been worried about.
Essentially, it's like popcorn movies versus like a movie you have to pay attention to from start to finish.
If I can borrow something from Scorsese, which I 100% agree with, fun Marvel movies, cinema. People have been pissed about that.
I know.
I agree with them. So he just elaborated on it a little further recently, and I'm like, oh, this is what he meant. No shit, that's what he meant.
Yeah.
That's what the fucking term means. Anyway. What are we talking about? Are we ending Taste Tuesday?
Yeah, pretty much. I was just gonna say, yeah, you can watch Transformers, or you can watch like I'm drawing a blank.
Goodfellas.
Well, I was gonna say Ex Machina.
Ex Machina is good, yeah.
Yeah. So, if you don't pay attention, it's gonna be lost on you. So,
yeah, if you just want to go to something and have some fun, there's nothing wrong with that. Go do that
for sure.
If you want to sit there and fucking think and appreciate the craft of fucking like the art that you're experiencing and think about it later. If you're deep in that shit, you love the fucking the way it's made and stuff like that. You can really appreciate it. Yeah, go experience that.
And long interest can be beneficial as well. To use an example in music, even though I didn't appreciate it as a kid, I definitely appreciate it more as an adult now. But Tool's Eulogy is a huge intro for a song. It's just very slow, and then it builds and builds and builds, and then finally, So
there's a bunch of music like that, but yeah, for sure. Investment. It's not radio friendly. Yeah. So, fast food versus gourmet. Anyway, anything else?
No.
Do you want to keep talking about anything random at all? Let us know in the comments. What do you think about Kojima going towards making movies? Do you think he's going to stick with that, or do you think he's going to do a little bit of both, or do you think he's going to dabble in that, go right back to making games? What do you think about this future of streaming, meeting fucking movies and games, somewhere in between? And what kind of movie would you like to see Kojima make? And yeah. Are you excited for Death Stranding? That's going to do it for this episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Little Gaming. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook at Tasty Little Gaming. Check out their streams. Link down below. He's on Mixer. I'm on Mixer. I'm on Twitch. I'm on YouTube. So you can watch me on all three. Watch all three of them at once. Get 3 things open and just watch with all 3 of your eyes.
A different delay on each platform. That'd be awful.
But it's one eye trained on each one. So you're watching it at the different delays, and it's your brain having to fucking fight with which one's the best one, which is probably Mixer. I don't know. quality wise.
Or Twitch.
Twitch is pretty good too. Yeah, YouTube's shit. It's awful.
Yeah.
Where was I at? Discord. Link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all time. And we're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. If you prefer to listen to us, vote GOTM, the game you want, which should be listed somewhere earlier right now. And yeah, my name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
Until next episode, which will be this weekend for Tasty Cast. Have a good week, guys. Watch my BlizzCon episode that came out yesterday. And take it easy, guys.